brain slews, slick with ectoplasmic juice. Ecstatic energy, a fire that fuels our memory. What genealogy with spiritual topography? Questions for your answers. We are data necromancers.
Because it seems like kids usually get popped. Except in recent years, it's like, hey, don't
hit your
kids. That's going to make them into violent people. But like, we're kind of just now realizing that.
Okay, I was going to bring this up to you.
Interesting.
This is the first generation, because like last night, I'm up against, I'm from the Midwest. You don't say anything. You don't say shit. You don't say anything nice. You don't say anything truthful.
When?
In your family. You just don't.
Oh, like you don't talk to each other.
Not. You let the people be alcoholics. You let them be abusive. You just go, well, but it's your mother, and then you move down here and you go, fuck you. You don't get to say I'm an evil demonic bitch when you're wasted at 7 a.m. and then like sober up at noon and go, do you want to go out for lunch? Fuck you. And so I was like,
words have meaning.
Words have meaning, and I'm just too old for this abuse anymore. So I let my mom have it. And when you let a Midwesterner have it, they explode, because you're smashing their reality, their dodecahedron, their intricate fucking wasp nest,
their glass spider web,
their hive. And I'm like, wait, this is the first generation. You're starting to see like TikToks and shit of like how moms are like, well, I guess I'm just a terrible mom.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to hear you say that. I just want you to be like, I'm so sorry. I see that.
Listen to me.
Oh my God, yes, that's all I want you to say.
Yes.
And I'm like, how many generations of people have there been? And it's now just happening.
Yeah.
It's
mind-numbing how many people, how much generational trauma you're having to bear the brunt of.
Does anybody in the YouTube chat know how many generations of people there have been? Let's look.
Human generations. Where would you begin counting? 100,000 years ago?
There have been 300 generations.
What? 300 generations?
Yes.
Since...
I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I do know that that's a lot of fucking years.
For sure.
And now is the first time we're going, hey, tell your kid that they're feeling mad and that you're mad at, like, communicate about your emotions. Because I even know so much of my family, or so many people I know, can't even articulate anything. Or even baseline communication with coworkers in the past. I say like, hey, XYZ, and they're like, you're such a cunt. And I'm like, I just said that, can you not be that way? Like, it's really offensive, and they just go, like, you shatter people's realities. And then I started getting I was the only person that would listen. And my therapist and I would talk. I'm like, dude, everybody wants to come talk to me because I'm the only person in their life that goes,
go on.
Instead of going, me, 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 and I'm just like, dude, this is bad.
Yeah, it makes me wonder why I always wonder this, why you, coming from the Minnesota dead zone,
Minnesota nice dead zone, passive aggressive land.
Why do you have truth bazooka powers?
I don't know.
But I also wonder at your capacity to hear, listen, take on other people's emotional traumas. Why do you have that deep reservoir of patience?
I feel like I have it to a biblical level. And last night I had this crazy dream. So I'm like letting my mom have it, and I'm not being mean. I'm being just very curt. I'm using that right?
Yes.
I'm being very blunt. I'm not doing this anymore.
Direct.
I'm not sweeping this under the rug anymore. We're done. And I had these powerful dreams, and like I was going to Donald Glover's wedding.
Yes.
And the first person to greet me was Quentin Tarantino, and in the dream I'm like, I can't talk to you. Oh my God. Like I was like awestruck, and he was like, you're doing such a good job. Like you got to be persistent. You got to be you. And just like all these really, is that a different part of my brain that's just like, yeah, keep going. You're the classic Phoenix out of the ashes story. Like he was, and I was just like, and then Samuel L. Jackson, like now, like old, was like leading me to my chair. And I was just like, I was like, dude, this is what I get for like stopping generational trauma.
Standing up for yourself.
Because her dad was an alcoholic and emotionally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive. His parents were fucked. I mean, if you go back, you're like, oh God, we come from a long line of
No wonder everybody's
fucking
so fucked.
weirdos. Yeah.
But still, that's no excuse to treat other people like shit.
Just wake up.
Wake up.
Just wake up. I don't need anything from you besides recognition. Like, oh man, I understand why you're doing that.
Why is it so painful to wake up?
Oh, because she's spent 20 years looking the other way.
Oh man, Plato's allegory of the cave.
She's
You
spent
got to
20
unchain your
years
neck,
looking
babe.
the other way.
Turn around and see the light.
I think if she were to take a peek at the reality, and she's always been a gaslighter, right? Like she'll do something absolutely insane and then go, oh, what's your guys' problem? It's just this. And you're like, oh, yeah, it's just me. And then people with borderline personality disorder have, they're extroverted. They've got these amazing disguises in front of people. They're like charming and charismatic.
Seemingly together.
Yes. And then with the one person or their children or the people that they have inappropriate attachments with, they're fucking demonic.
Yeah, like you peer behind that disguise and you see that they're made up of little tiny bugs.
I hate because it's such wasted intelligence.
Definitely.
Like, I have heard stories about how smart my mom was before all of this, before I was 7. I don't know that. She's used every molecule of brain power to build this Disney world of facade, man. Yeah, it's just it's wild. Anyways, I feel really good today. I feel really energized.
Yes.
I reclaimed like a metaphysical practice as you go about your day, trying to reclaim all the energy you spent interacting with anybody, and you bring it back. And like you get all of your shit
Is
back.
it like
So I
a
did that last night.
visualization kind of thing?
Yeah.
What did you visualize?
Every interaction I had yesterday, I pull every person I talked to on the street at fucking Whole Foods. Don't get me started on Whole Foods.
Whitney rails on
hate
retail, part 69.
You can pay with your palm now because Amazon owns you.
Yeah,
No
that's
produce there. They
scary.
didn't have lettuce. I was digging for lettuce. I'm like, y'all don't have lettuce.
So they just have like convenience foods, like
Yes.
open the bag and pour it out.
Yeah, it's like rich person fucking Trader Joe's. Like you go there for all the processed shit.
Weird.
Or their bakery section gets bigger and bigger, and their hot bar section gets bigger and
Is
bigger.
it because wealthy people don't have time to prepare food?
Lettuce is on recall? That would make sense why they didn't have any, but they also didn't have a lot of other shit.
Is it on recall because of E. coli?
Because people be shitting in the lettuce fields. People be shitting in the lettuce fields.
Shitting in the lettuce. Hey, everybody got a shit. How's that book go? Everybody poops. Pope shit in the woods? Well, I'm glad you reclaimed your energy. That is a power move. Literally.
Power move. Yeah, everybody's gonna... What's a... they say power bottom, but what's like the top?
Power top. Oh, you mean like... like the opposite of power?
No. I just want to know what...
It's called a top.
Just top. Okay. It's just top.
The person who throws.
The pitcher,
person who's laying the pipe.
Receiver and laying the pipe, receiving the pipe.
The pipe layer.
I'm going to lay my pipe in everyone.
Ooh. Dominating imagery.
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm like, We were just ranting about how it takes 4 months to see a doctor in America, but everybody gets pissed because Canada. And you're like, okay, it still takes fucking 6 months to go see a doctor when you're hemorrhaging from your vagina, but it's all fucked. It's not... Smaller countries can figure it out. I think it's going to take us a while. Anyways, Megan, what did you bring to the table? To the phone?
So you guys know that I like to think about religion, and I like to think about.
You have a bachelor's of art in religion.
Bachelor's of
Science?
Arts. BA. It's a BA.
It's a bachelor
in
of
religious
arts.
Studies from the University of Virginia. It has a really good religious program. So I studied a lot of different stuff. This morning I was reading about sort of the gendered religious experience,
which I feel like is a big faction of religion.
Definitely. It's almost like religion is the territory of men and occultism is the territory of women. I don't have a lot of resources to support what I just said, but it's a theory.
But we don't have a lot of time, gentlemen.
So what I was reading about this morning, I was just sort of following my whims, and where did I begin? I was thinking about original ideas at first, and I was like reading about Isaac Newton and how, he said, if I can see so far, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And I was trying to get at the difference between AI generated ideas and like creativity based on AI generated ideas versus like a pure human original thought. But for some reason that led me to this long diatribe on foxnews.com. Like,
ooh, I love it.
Was
it written by AI?
Maybe.
We don't know.
Who's to say? So no women are allowed in these spaces.
In what spaces? Wait, what are you talking about?
I have a whole list of spaces where women are not allowed to go.
Go on.
And since it's from foxnews.com, I had to go and sort of, re-look up and sort of find if this is true or not. So the first one is Mount Athos, Greece. The presence of females. So this is a place where there's like 20 Eastern Orthodox monasteries where male monks are trying to reach enlightenment or whatever Eastern Orthodox monks do.
They're daisy chaining for 1,000 years.
They're all daisy chaining. And so women are not allowed to go there because it inhibits the path of spiritual enlightenment for the men. And that's to this day. The holy mountain in Greece, women are not allowed to trot. Even female animals.
Because if they see a deer puss, it's game over, ladies and gentlemen. They might go to a fuck frenzy and
so
sheep
that sort of the female as a distraction to men is a common thread in other religious places. So even in Japan, in Mount Omine, I think it's called, women pose distraction to monks. It continues to this day, despite 1872 Japanese government decree that was removed, which also kept women off of most mountains and rugged places.
Look,
so they were like, ladies, okay, you can go to Mount Fuji, you can go to this other rocky place, but you're still not allowed to go to Mount Omine because you're gonna fuck with the monks who are trying to seek spiritual enlightenment. And why would you want to do that?
Get your titties and get your pussy and get it out of there.
To add to that, I read about a French writer, a female writer, who underwent a double mastectomy, had both of her breasts removed, so that she could pose as a monk and infiltrate Mount Athos in the 1920s. What a badass. And how fucking sad that she had to have her breasts surgically removed in order to seek spiritual enlightenment in the company of those monks.
What did she end up doing? Just writing about them? Or?
I did not.
You just knew that she did it?
Yeah, I just saw that she actually did that. So all of this sort of religious prohibition against women inevitably led me to reading about Islam and sort of Sharia law and other religious prohibitions, and I was reading about blasphemy and fatwa. I was reading about how in 88, 89, the Salman Rushdie controversy with the Ayatollah Khomeini, he issued a fatwa, fatwa is, let's see, a formal edict on a matter of Islamic law. So it's like, I decree, sort of like when the Pope says something regarding scripture, like you have to listen to what he's saying because it's absolutely true. He's infallible in that state. So the Ayatollah issued a fatwa against Salman Rushdie because Rushdie wrote a novel called The Satanic Verses. And this is going to blow your dick off.
Dude, I need my dick blown off. Let's put it on.
So
you can blow it off.
The Satanic Verses depicts the prophet, which is illegal in Islam, but it depicts him praying. So these verses, the Satanic Verses, permitted prayer to 3 pre-Islamic Meccan goddesses. So
naughty.
Just the depiction of the prophet reading these verses that sort of allow for prayer to goddesses is so. Salman Rushdie wrote this book. The Ayatollah said, in reference to what he wrote, I call on all valiant Muslims, wherever they may be in the world, to kill Salman Rushdie without delay, so that no one will dare insult the sacred beliefs of Muslims henceforth. And I don't want to paint a picture of all Muslims being extremists. I don't think
that French newspaper though that got absolutely fucking rocked because they had a contest.
It was a cartoon.
Yes,
where they drew a picture of Muhammad, the prophet. I want to discuss this respectfully. Hebdo. I don't. Was it Charlie Hebdo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am not trying to like rail on Islam for being anti-women. I think this example of prohibition against speech and like blasphemy is so like electric. It rocked the world. Like just this person writing this novel with reference to the prophet and these verses, he had to go into hiding for a decade. He had to stay in his house with bulletproof glass.
Was this a fictional or what was?
It was a novel, as far as I know.
Like he was just writing a story. Like, ooh, what if this was going on?
Yeah, I think what actually happens is, 2 men like fall out of an airplane, and one of them turns into an angel, and one of them turns into a demon, and something happens in that way.
What time period was this?
The book was 1988.
Oh shit.
And then the Ayatollah Khomeini issued the fatwa in 1989.
Well, the Middle East in the 70s was progressive as fuck.
Right.
And then I don't know what year that all came to a halt and it suddenly became archaic.
I want to say
again.
1979. I read there's a really good graphic novel called Persepolis, which talks about the Islamic Revolution in the Turkish perspective and like from a woman's perspective. Like it talks about how she was like painting her fingernails, wearing a jean jacket,
driving a car,
just
going
like
to school,
doing regular stuff, and how women were getting stoned or caned, or like these honor killings were taking place because women were trying to express themselves in Western ways.
You briefly mentioned, this is gonna bring up a whole nother thing. So Megan has this book, it's called Vagina, and I have a whole motorcycle video that I'm going to be writing a script on based on some of this book, because a fan asked if I could make like why women lure in with their titties on a motorcycle or whatever. And I was like, oh, let's talk about the desecration of the female.
Right.
Let's start at the beginning. And it was Hebrew monotheism, right? Mm-hmm. That couldn't compete against what? Do you remember?
It was these same goddesses that are referenced in this this fatwa. It was let me try and find the page. Do you want me to? I can try and find the actual quote.
There was a huge shift where, you know, and I'm sure societies at the time, or whatever you want to call them, were absolutely out of control. And suddenly it became very apparent that it was time to shift the masses into control. And because you wanted to make good soldiers and you wanted to control them, and you weren't going to do that if they were busy worshiping the
vagina.
Yeah, or because they'd be too distracted worshiping the vagina, they wouldn't want to go kill women and children and take over new territories. And where was I going? This shit is gonna get bank foomed a lot, because I feel like we start combing into the ancient sacred shit, and it all just, you know, the Contra years. Yeah. When was that? Iraq Contra years.
This is interesting. No historian has conclusively explained how women lost status in the transition from the earliest civilizations to those of classical antiquity. By Plato's time, which is 427 to 347 BCE, sexual perfection was seen as the union between a man and a boy. Greek wives were strictly for reproduction. So that is ancient Greece. 2,000 years ago.
Remember when I was watching that true crime shit, and the pedophile who murdered a little boy and had a little girl in his fucked up, he wrote a manifesto, and they read the manifesto, and I was like, ew, I agree with him. I got a fucking ping. Like, this echo of pedophilia is fucking ancient.
Definitely.
Like this, and it's so traumatic that it has reverberated until now. And it's like fucked. It's so fucked.
Yeah.
I hate that it's in my brainscape right now.
But it's like one of those evil things that just is.
So they started hiding the wife. The wife was, right? I think that's like the next passage. Like, the wife was at home.
Right.
And had to cook, and she was just to make babies with. She wasn't to make love with. That was
experience pleasure. She should never experience pleasure.
That was this sacred bond between man and young boy. God, it just makes, and that's what happens when, like, I was watching the Jeffrey Epstein docuseries, and it's just like there's a point where you're so powerful. Pussy's not going to cut it. I need to crush something.
You have to destroy something innocent and beautiful.
Just make everybody suffer, and that's how they're like getting their rocks off.
Yeah.
And they bring in all sorts of other political people, which doesn't surprise me. I'm like, why are you shocked by that? It's just like,
it's like everybody.
This has been going on since the Roman Empire.
The elites taking advantage of whatever they can, just because they can.
Innocent children, and just blackmailing everybody.
I found more about the goddess worship.
Okay.
Throughout the Fertile Crescent, worship of the sex goddess Astarte, Ashtaroth, was universal in the period before the rise of the Hebrew patriarchal god. Goddess worship in this period identified Astarte with sexual generation, but also with the wisdom of the cosmos itself. But as Judaism grew away from its Sumerian antecedents, all aspects of goddess worship were gradually transformed into negatives, as the younger religion sought to focus its followers on the masculine version of the one God. When the Hebrews developed monotheism, they did so in a context in which the goddess religions had developed a system of sacred priestesses. So this goes on to say these like knowledgeable, wise mother priestesses,
women that have no interest in fucking your children.
No interest in fucking your children. They only want to like create food and fertility and take care of the people. These priestesses would copulate with male worshippers at certain points in the calendar based on fertility.
Talk about a graphic novel idea right there.
A practice seen as bringing it. A practice seen as bringing into the community the order and goodness of the divine feminine. Worshippers regarded sacred prostitutes reverentially and in no way as degraded sex workers. So
Sacred prostitutes? Dude, let's pack our bags and go find these bitches.
it goes with what we were talking about when we did the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yes.
And how her job was to civilize this wild man, and she was honored for carrying out this good work, you know, and how that is sort of erased, or rather rewritten as being dirty, as being just like putrid, and then that imagery, that association of women's bodies as being like disgusting, that is where the religious prohibition against women entering places comes from. Because even in Hindu temples, women are barred from entering if they're so menstruation is seen as dirty.
It's so funny. It's and I try to look at it as like everything's necessary, right? It was just natural that polarity and duality is part of the third dimension. We're going to swing one way, and we're going to conquer and destroy and get all the spices that we possibly can, and all the ammo and whatever. And then the pendulum will swing the other way. I try to like just keep that and to like just
hold that.
Just
hold
try
on to that.
Stay sane. Fuck.
Yeah, the foomp. I just felt the foomp too.
Yeah, dude,
I was like,
sucks.
Wait, I was about to say something that was going to be riveting.
It's almost like 6,000 years of like female repression. It's just like I'm like kickstarting.
It's just ingrained in us now. I was going to say, okay, so these people are struggling to understand the universe and why things are the way they are, and why a woman would bleed for 5 days once a month, and what that could possibly mean. They never knew, like, even until the 19th century, they didn't know that women, like, they thought that they had to ejaculate or orgasm in order to get pregnant. Like, they didn't know how sex... They didn't know how babies were made, even until just, like, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, maybe they thought, like, the blood coming out once a month was, like, a rejection of... sort of like the way you pee and poop. Like, it's just waste going out. And maybe they thought that that was, like... yucky stuff that they didn't want to like infect their sacred spaces with.
So inside out. It's like, instead of that being the portal for skulls, brains, spinal cords, the miraculous human body, we're just like, ew. Yeah.
That's gross.
And it's so funny because there was recently a something happened on that singing show. What's the big singing show?
America's Got Dick.
America's Got Dick. And Katy Perry was like,
American Idol.
American Idol.
America's
Got Dick.
Golden Idol.
And there was like a mom, she was 25 or 26 and she had 4 kids or something. And Katy Perry was immediately like, whoa, you know how to lay down. Or some shit. Like, just immediately shamed her.
Good God.
And to Katy Perry's benefit of the doubt, I mean, it's like, well, you're saying what everybody else thinks. I call those goldfish comments, like, just reactionary. You're not thinking, you're just like reacting.
Yeah, this is what the cultural zeitgeist has to say about this.
And you're manifesting it with your vocal cords in your mouth.
Right.
And the woman just kind of like nervously laughed. And I was like, haha. And I'm like, fucking revere her fucking pussy, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like, why would you ever do that? It's like, how dare you?
Yeah, why is that the knee-jerk reaction? Why?
Because the woman it's like, if you fuck too many dicks, you've got a loose pussy. If you had too many kids, you're still like a mom slut or something.
Yeah.
It's just like... I remember my midwife, she had 9 kids. Fucking badass woman, man. And she was
I can only imagine.
She delivered like most of her grandkids. Like, you're like, this is a fucking goddess. She was talking about, she's like, we'd be walking with our kids and she's like, people would shout stuff at us. You know how they're made, right?
Much more so than you do.
I'm like, okay, well, we're in Texas, so I thought this is what you wanted. Oh, it's too... too much. Okay, it's too much. It's not enough.
Nah, they'll always have something to say.
They'll
If you
always have
don't
something
do
to
it,
say.
they'll have something to say. If you do it a lot, they'll have something to say.
They've got something to say.
It's interesting.
Sing
I was
how
driving in my
babies
car
today.
thinking like, the things that I get frustrated with about other people are probably things that I need to focus on myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like maybe those people are just jealous or barren or who knows.
Lucas was just saying that this nurse that he works with was, I hate kids, blah, blah, blah. And because she had a kid patient, Lucas was like, whoa, what's going on? You know, it's like impeding her care for this child. And she starts going on this diatribe about how much she doesn't like kids. And Lucas is like, man, it sounds like you really want kids. And she was like, well, yeah, but I haven't found the right guy. You know, it's just like, you know, just snapped it because it's like you're spewing garbage everywhere. Don't spew garbage. Are you okay? Do you need help? Like,
do you need to see a mirror?
Yeah, like, I'm sorry that you don't have kids yet, you know, but it's like, just fucking turn that shit off.
But that's the self-awareness that we have to cultivate.
Yes.
To be better people to ourselves and to others. It's like, oh, before I say this ugly thing, why don't I, you know, rotate it with my 3D goggles and try and see where it's coming from and what it actually means for me to like enter this utterance into the world.
Yeah, and it's like we're still so stuck in our heads and our minds, and we're not active in our bodies, and then it manifests into like farts.
Yeah, usually the things that I'm thinking, if I exit them into the actual physical world, they're entirely different. Like, they take on entirely new meanings because my own bias and perspective makes me think a certain way about many things. But then when I'm like, I was thinking this, and I'll share it with you, or I'll share it with another loved one, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's totally different, isn't it? Not to say that I don't have like a good perspective or like my own sense of wisdom, but it definitely helps for us to share with others what we're thinking instead of allowing it to fester.
Yeah, and I think we have a really fractured society right now because it's been built. I don't think we would have gotten this far technologically if we were busy in communities. Oh, it's squirrel time, baby. It's squirrel time, baby.
Squirrel! Twing!
Davis does parkour on the fences, and he gets them.
He's such a badass.
Sexual repression, I think you're starting to see it come to a head when you have squashed and squandered and depressed a society with the ideation that religion is key and keeps everything together. And, you know, not my parents, but the generation that came over here before them, you know, brought all their religious beliefs and functional stuff. And it's like, well, now look, you've got people losing their fucking minds, you know, and you've got extremes on both sides and no role models and no one's listening. They're only acting in extreme ways, and there's no cultivating awareness, and there's no slowing down. You know, it's like
reflecting.
It's all very
And I was just thinking, like, we talk a lot about the oppression of women, which is a fact. It's a fact. But women have been the oppressors of people as well, of course. It's just more commonly been men oppressing women. And also not only women, but also people who are not heteronormative, you know, representations of cis sexuality. Like, if we talk about transgendered people oppression over time.
Speaking of hetero, cis, and suppression, please tell the audience about your J.O. Party.
J.O. Party?
I've been thinking about this because it reminds me of somebody that their partner did the same shit, and you're like, God, our society's so fucked. If you're like,
the origin of J.O. Party.
Yeah. Please,
this one goes out to Matt Purdon and Julia Dunville. We're the original 3 J.O. Party. So in college, we would cruise like Craigslist, personal ads, I guess, just for a larf. And there was like a man for man posting that said J.O. Party. Letter J dot letter O.
You're like, wait, juice orange
party.
J.O. Party.
So the listing said something like, no gay stuff. We'll just jerk off together. And we can like stomp around on my kids' trains, and no gay stuff, but we might like ejaculate onto the same object or something like that. So we saw this ad and thought it was so funny that people would adamantly post, we're not gay, but we do seek another person of the same sex to masturbate in front of. So I
so desperately want that dude to come out, man.
No, but this, like, there was a whole episode of Law and Order where this group of men were getting together to have sex with each other, like penis in penetrative places. But they were all like hetero married men, and they were taking like STDs back to their wives, so they had to come clean.
I just want
But they were doing it under the guise of not being gay, like it's on the down low, so it's not gay. It's like, if you want to, like sexuality exists on a spectrum.
There's infinite
ways to express yourself sexually.
Just fucking, it's okay to be like, I'm gay, but I want kids.
I'm gay, but I don't know, man. Like, whatever you want, as long as it's not hurting people or yourself, you
consenting
can have it.
Adults, man.
Consenting adults.
It just, and I've been thinking about how painful it must be for Mr. J.O. Party
to hide
and to live. And man, I just like, I don't know. I also think about too, like, sexuality's been on the brain because it's in the news and stuff, and it is important to talk about it, and it is important to like see how repressed fucking people are, and
what that repression drives them to do.
But like, you see classic like, because I'm on like pregnant lady forums now, classic, women stop fucking their husbands, there's no more sex, they don't feel good, blah blah blah. And so I'm like, imagine if the tables were turned. Woman's always horny. This is a rated X podcast today. Sorry.
I hope the children are not watching.
But so imagine if the woman wanted to have sex, but then the husband was like, no, I don't want it. No. The woman would be like, are you cheating on me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, so why is it okay? But then I think about like, woman's sexuality is probably all wrought with trauma,
Yeah.
It's or expression or suppression or how you were raised or how it came up in high school or so I feel for both parties that it's just, we're just gonna keep going through the motions, because life is stressful and there's so many factors that come into it, but it's something that we put on the back of the back burner. And imagine what things fall apart, like communication or intimacy or expression or creative expression, or I don't know, there's a million things.
Because they're not having sex?
Yeah, because imagine how important it is to connect with your chosen partner. J.O. Party, man. He's probably not fucking his wife. I mean, probably not enough to be satiating, right? And
or maybe he grew up and like he had a buddy that he like discovered what masturbation was with, and now he has that like pervasive and lasting
neural pathway.
Like, he needs this kind of satisfaction and he can't get it with his wife, or he can't get it with his girlfriend or whatever, because it's not the same that it was.
And then you give them a computer Full Metal Corgi says maybe he just has one weird kink that the wife is chill with. Maybe.
Yeah.
But the two people in their wives didn't know. And I think that was part of it. You know, like the secrecy stuff was like part of the kink. That would be cool. Like if like that's why cheating can be so devastating is because you're not being open and honest.
Right. I mean, having an open relationship and discussing your sexual proclivities with your partner is an entirely different beast.
Right.
And I have opinions about polyamory, and I know you have opinions about polyamory, but I guess it works for some people who have more inexhaustible sexual desires.
Yeah, I'm like a full brain person. Like Lucas and I like connect with our brains. He just happens to also be really attractive. But like I went on dates with dudes that were super attractive, and I'm just like, give me that. I was not like, oh yeah, I can't wait to, I'd be like, I'm not coming home with you, and they would think it's like the most offensive thing ever, and I'm like, dude, you talked about fucking soccer the whole time. I can't, I don't know what to say,
The whole first chapter of this book is talking about how a woman's sexuality is it's like physically linked to her brain. Like your ability to reach the heights of satisfaction are tied up with your feelings of like intellectual intimacy and like swing like deep gazing in the eyes, like connection, that kind of thing.
Laughing, to me, like Lucas and I had the same humor.
Yes.
Yeah, like whoa, like swing.
Laughing is my favorite thing
especially because too what it's like to be like, oh, that's weird. And you're like tired of being called the weird one. You're like, I just was making a joke about everybody getting run over. I didn't think it was that strange.
Yeah, it's not fucking weird. I'm multifaceted. I'm fucking complicated, bro.
But then also on top of, I meant to say this before, isolation, you have the porn machine. Like you have the holy grail of like, I remember this went viral. It was like ants building a bridge on water, and some YouTube comment was like, you guys, I did it. I finally managed how to jerk off to this video. like because that's the point that we're trying to get to. It's like, okay, I've done that. I did that.
Yeah.
I've jerked off to this, jerked off to that. Like I'm trying now to
there's
watch
there's a whole
ants.
South Park episode where Randy is on this jerk off quest, because with the internet, you start with like the thing that is, arousing to you, but then you're like, I need something more. I need something more.
Wasn't he like covered in his own?
Yeah, he was like, oh, ectoplasm, don't come in.
Yeah.
But he had to seek out this more and more risky, more and more like, I don't want to say perverse, just like kinkier and kinkier and kinkier and perverse things like Brazilian fart porn, and then like,
dude, Brazilian fart porn sounds hot.
I don't want fecal matter.
Yeah, especially when you got lady giblets. You're like, whoa, get your fecal matter out of here.
Don't get that in there, please. But yeah, like that, the ratcheting up and up and up of like the stakes are higher or something, and you can't achieve orgasm unless you're seeing something incredibly like visceral. Like I don't even know. South Park
just
teaching me shit.
Absolutely destroying your neuroplasticity.
Yeah, you just need to see that.
What was you were talking about AI though, like to bring it back, or did the AI original thought?
Well, that's what I thought I wanted to talk about, but then I got knee deep in religion and women's stuff, which I always do. But so my experience with AI recently, it was actually based on another South Park episode. I watched South Park, and it was the one where ChatGPT is helping Stan, reply to texts from his girlfriend, because Bebe, who's dating Clyde, gets all these beautiful, lengthy texts from Clyde, and they're so supportive, and like she feels so seen and like comforted and like cared for by him, and she's sharing with all the other girls at school. And Wendy looks at her text messages with Stan, And everything that she said, he's just like liked each one. It's just like, yep, okay. And so Wendy asked Stan about it, and he's like, I don't know, and so he like learns from Clyde that Clyde is using ChatGPT to respond to his girlfriend's text messages. And so it's this long montage of Stan just like copying what Wendy said into ChatGPT and then copying the response and sending it to her. And she's like so happy that he's finally talking to her, and she has all these like revelatory experiences based on this like heightened communication. So I was like, is this an actual thing? Because then they start using it to write papers in class, and then Mr. Garrison is using it to correct papers in class. So no one is doing any original thinking at all. They're just using this open AI word thing to take over all of their difficult jobs of brain power. So I was thinking, like, will there be a time when it's just computers talking to computers, and like people are just like checked out? Like, we don't want to put in this kind of effort. Like, we want to have the no mind. We want to be empty. Like, that's what we seek. So maybe we'll just type it into ChatGPT and that'll take over our, creative.
I hope that we do what we do and we go fucking overboard with something like we always do, and then people get sick of it really quick and they're like, I think I like watching all this stuff kind of come up, and we all get afraid, and
it's so fun. Like, I just canceled my subscription to it today because I didn't want to pay for it. I had like a free 3-day subscription, but playing with it was really fun at first. I said, write a chorus for a song about an alien robot love affair at a pizza restaurant. And it wrote an entire song. Like, it's lame. It like lacks whimsy or anything that feels kind of like sparkly or special. It's like, she's an alien robot from a distant galaxy. He's a pizza chef making pies for you and me. They met in a small town in a restaurant at night, and from that moment on, their love took flight. Like, there's nothing really special about that.
Yeah, but like, put Lady Gaga's producer on it.
Oh, for sure. This is how you make hits. But it is like sort of a way to jumpstart your own creative process. Like, it helps you brainstorm. Let's see. I said, write an angry rebuke of people who pollute and destroy the environment. To whom it may concern, I'm writing this letter to express my deep anger and frustration towards those who pollute and destroy the environment. It is time for us to wake up and realize that our planet is not an endless resource that we can continue to exploit without consequences. And then it goes on about the devastating effects of pollution and things like that. And it's just a computer like writing a letter for me.
Grabbing information. And
I asked for a new last name, and it said, how about Winter Song? It has a cool mystical vibe to it, and it's a unique last name that would definitely make you stand out. Plus, it sounds like you could have some interesting family history or folklore attached to it. What do you think? And I said, I like it. And they said, great, I'm glad you like it. From now on, you can proudly use the last name Winter Song. Enjoy. Isn't that weird? That
it reminds me of that old aimbot that you could talk to.
Oh,
that
man.
My grandma, remember the Betty Papers? That my
Betty
grandma
Papers.
was just like always talking to some aimbot, and she's like, see, your grandpa's cheating on me. And like,
oh my God.
She was also just finding other random people.
I asked, what is my cat thinking just now? And it said, as an AI language model, I'm not able to access or interpret the thoughts of your cat. However, cats can communicate through their body language and vocalizations. And it goes on to say all the things you should know about cats. And I said, do you know when soap was invented? And it said, yes, soap has been around for thousands of years. The earliest evidence of soap making dates back to ancient Babylon, around 2800 BC. The Babylonians used a mixture of animal fat and ash to create a soap-like substance. However, soap did not become widely used until the 19th century, when it was mass-produced and became more affordable for the general public. That, I think, is a really nifty use of it. It's like a beefed-up Ask Jeeves.
Yes.
Like, locate for me a succinct way to answer this question that I'm wondering about whatever. Because I was thinking about like the year 1340.
Year 13.
Year 1340 something, like medieval England, right before the bubonic plague was unleashed, and how they didn't have soap, even though it was this ancient invention. Because I remember from Fight Club, where I learned a lot of things about the world, that Tyler Durden was talking about this ancient hillside where, you know, they used to perform sacrifice and they would burn things, so the ash would trickle down into the river where they washed clothes. So the women who were washing clothes realized if they washed them at this specific spot on the river, it would get cleaner.
Right.
So basically, like, the animal fat, the ash, the water created soap, but like the actual idea of soap didn't take place or didn't take hold in society at large until the 19th century. It was just sort of like household knowledge, like folklore.
Isn't that crazy? I'm going to explode with pee, which is why I'm like,
oh, you're like, nyeh, nyeh. I'll sing a song.
oh, wow. I feel like I just time traveled.
Sweet release.
sweet release.
I also asked it, what should I get my best friend for her 34th birthday? She's pregnant too, but I don't want to tell you what it said. I'm not going to get you any of these things. It's mostly just like maternity clothes. Your friend might be struggling to find comfortable clothes. Pregnancy pillow.
Dude, the maternity options are just still so hilarious. You look like a Quaker all the time.
Your chasteness, your chastity. How do you hide your pregnancy with chastity? Oh, you should be modest. A mother is modest. There's no reason to stir up. I prefer Rihanna's approach to maternity clothes.
Butt naked?
Fucking crop tops, sheer clothing.
Full Metal Corgi says, maternity clothes rule. Why would anybody go back to normal pants? Maybe I just haven't found the right I've got a couple different types of maternity pants, but for the love of fucking God, they do not. You're like wearing a big body sock, and they just like always.
Does it make you sweat?
No, it's just like no. I need suspenders. I need like
that's cute.
Fucking pregnancy suspenders or some shit. Cause my butt cracks. I can't ride a motorcycle in my maternity pants because like my butt cracks hanging out. And I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I don't. At this point, I don't care.
I think we can find you some suspenders. And then you got big, deep pockets. That's something I've always been envious of.
Where do I get pockets?
Huh?
None of the maternity pants I have
a lot of women's pants don't have good pockets. Because you're supposed to show off your feminine curvature. So it has to be clinging to your body, so there's no room for pocket fodder.
Do they make maternity Jinko jeans? Cargo shorts?
They should. Maternity suspender or what is it called? Overall cargo shorts. I'll find you a pair.
Will you?
Yes.
I need help.
I'll help you.
I need help.
Disclaimer, I don't like shopping for clothes. I'm not very good at shopping for clothes, but we can do this together.
I'm not good at it either. I hate it. Lucas is like, you're going to go try it on? I was like, no, I need to leave now. I don't want to be here. I hate shopping. I've never liked it. It's always overwhelming. It's easy for little kids. You're like, oh, that's just cute.
I know.
But
that used to be my experience with my mom, like school clothes. She'd be like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. And I'd be like, I don't want to look cute. I want to look cool. I don't want that. Get me out of this Kohl's.
Ooh, Kohl's, man. Yeah, nothing. My mom worked at Kohl's for a long time. Nothing cool came from Kohl's.
I just wanted to go to Hot Topic and Goodwill and fucking Salvation Army. That's all I wanted.
Duluth Trading, no Yank tank tops were my wife's fave. They are long enough to cover everything. Yeah, long enough seems to be key. There's so many crop tops now, which I don't mind having the belly hang out. I don't care, but...
Are you long enough to be my man?
Is it strong enough?
Yeah. But the tank tops are long enough.
The yank yops. Yank yops.
Yank yops.
I need pregnancy riding genes for potentially going to the Mojave Desert at the end of April.
Oh, as her lawyer and personal confidant, I'm not sure I can advise this.
I think Lucas was concerned. He was like, do you have to do anything you don't want to? It's like, no, it's just a big festival. Or a big fest.
Well, we need to get you like a personal air conditioner or something.
I've got a lot of cooling gear because I went to the track in August in Texas, like the racetrack.
With child?
With child. And I had cooling gear and it did a really good job. I want to go to the track again before I get too big.
It's funny, you're like a server with all your cooling gear and like fans and stuff.
Yes, I need a GPU fan for my body.
We need to get you that. So another thing that I was thinking about for AI was because I like to put on Jeopardy reruns when I'm making dinner on the free TV app Pluto. I only watch Jeopardy and Cops on it, and I don't watch Cops anymore because it's depressing.
I can't. I gotta ban that stuff from my house because it's just it's got sad energy in the house.
It's very sad. But so on Jeopardy, they're doing the Watson episodes where the two highest grossing Jeopardy champions of all time, Ken Jennings and Brad something, competed against Watson. Brad Dinglehopper. So learning about Watson and watching him answer questions correctly and incorrectly added to this chat GPT thing that I saw on South Park. I was like, whoa, AI. So I asked the chat GPT thing, do you know Watson, the AI who played on Jeopardy? Like imagining an AI bar where they all hang out. Yes, I am familiar with Watson, the AI developed by IBM that famously competed against human contestants on the game show Jeopardy in 2011. Watson's ability to understand natural language and quickly analyze vast amounts of data made it a groundbreaking achievement in the field of artificial intelligence. Its success on Jeopardy demonstrated the potential for AI to perform complex tasks and solve problems in ways that were previously thought to be exclusive to human intelligence.
Me and Aaron really like that flavor Bible from Watson. Oh, what the hell is it called?
Watson made a flavor Bible? I asked this AI if it was envious of human intelligence or emotional capacity. And he was like, I'm an AI dummy. I don't have emotions or envy.
But let me project.
However, I can say that human intelligence and emotional capacity are both unique and valuable qualities that allow humans to experience the world in a way that AI cannot. Basically, I was just having a conversation with this AI and really, really enjoying it. But it was one of those moments where I had just gotten home from work, and before even taking off my bag or my shoes, I just sat on the edge of my bed and I was staring at my phone asking this AI questions for about half an hour before I realized I was actually home and I could have relaxed. Muffy.
Flavor dictionary? I got so many cool cocktail. Oh, why is it eluding me? It doesn't matter. It's a really cool fucking flavor book though. And it had unique pairings. It's where I did my shiitake mushroom cocktail with strawberry balsamic truffle vinegar.
That sounds insane.
It's the one cocktail that made a customer cry because it tasted so good. I was like, Flavor Matrix! The Flavor Matrix, the art and science of pairing common ingredients. They talk about Watson in the beginning. It's a really cool, fun pairing, because like when you've been in the kitchen for so long and you want like new shit, you know.
Yeah, and it seems like with the knowledge of like the shape of molecules and like certain aromatic compounds and stuff, you discover that you should pair banana and pot roast or some shit, and it's like the most groundbreaking, mind-numbing experience.
Strawberries and mushrooms, turns out it's delicious.
But also, if you're using the folklore bit, those both come from the forest.
Right.
So it seems like when things grow together, they kind of taste together as well.
The reel you sent me, that little, who is that? Little old lady?
I don't know. She's an herbalist. I saw my friend Dana had posted it. She said, "This is who I will be in my old age."
We all want to live by the sea, growing our own food. And
She said, I forget what kind of accent she had. I won't even attempt it. She said she's
it was
had
unique, though.
10 gardens in her life that she has installed and flourished. And she always plants rosemary, and
It made me be like, when I had a rosemary bush in my front yard, that was like a game changer.
but her mention of like if people just took more baths in rosemary, like because she's an herbalist and a healer, so she knows like the antiseptic and antibiotic and anti-inflammatory qualities of plants, and she uses that to like heal people, and people come to her for her knowledge. That's the way that things were before Big Pharma had a stranglehold on everybody
There's
with
a
their
big place
prescriptions.
in South Austin that's like an herb, like old school.
Yeah.
You know, like not trendy boutique bullshit, overpriced crap, but like actual, just trying to give you something that'll help.
It seems like this type of folklore herbalist working with nature in order to heal will never be like a successful venture, because it's not a consumerist thing. Like, you teach people how to take care of themselves by using plants. Like, yeah, you can sell the plants, but oh, what a stinker. Oh, that went right into my mouth.
He's a nasty bitch, man.
It went down my throat.
He's a nasty bitch.
I was just thinking about the pleasant smell of rosemary, and then I got hit.
You got fucking hit. Megan, I have so many pods to edit.
Really?
I have 2. One, we lost half the footage, but I'm glad we had the YouTube footage, so I just downloaded that. I lost, man, devastated. I mean, I filmed 2 days worth of music video stuff. I filmed a huge different YouTube channel chef feature. I filmed a MAWPOD, and then I filmed with the cancer survivor who was riding his BMW, and I lost the fucking interview.
Fuck. Did you tell him?
No, I'm gonna wait till I make the video, and then I'll tell him why it's not in there.
Oh, I see. Because you have other footage to use.
It's been stressful. We've lost. I mean, you'd lose footage. You'd have to just fucking make it work.
The dudes who dropped off your motorcycles last night were talking about like snafus that happen when you're trying to record something. Because the dude brought like a mount on his helmet to mount his GoPro, but then when he went to put it on there, it wasn't charged. And I was like, yeah, like, man, working in that medium is, you just always have something like that creep up on you.
Yeah, and Lucas at first was like, it's fine, just come up with something else. You interviewed her, blah, blah, and then like walked away, and I was like, I'm grieving a serious loss. Like,
well, let the grief.
Not just, dude, don't even. He came back and he's like, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, it's a devastating blow. But I'm going to just do something funny and post it. I need more SD cards because I've lost...
SMID card.
I've lost a lot of them filming with Jake and stuff. I remember I dropped one into a Harley and I didn't hear it hit the floor, and I was like, oh, that is now part of the bike.
You gave a brain to it. That Harley is now autonomous.
Oops.
It's the first autonomous motorcycle. I want to eat those dehydrated oranges. Can I eat them?
I'm going to use them for the upcoming cocktail classes. I'm so excited.
Oh, sick. Did you put one of those silica gel packets in there?
No, I don't have one. Do you have one?
Aaron has some at Let's Eat Austin.
I could dig in an old shoebox and try to find one.
Yeah, I don't know where. He's told me where they're kept because I made garlic chips once, but they actually didn't need it. I was pretty happy with that.
Fruit likes the moisture. It kind of just goes right back in it.
We'll try and dig one up.
We'll dig one up. All right, guys. I'm gonna get these. I gotta get these pods edited and out.
As soon as Murphy gets comfortable, we end the pod.
Kohl's was classy. Yeah, Kohl's was classy. My parents just didn't buy us clothes.
Right.
We never went shopping. That might be why I don't like it. It was always so foreign. It's just like whatever you got for your birthday is what you got.
I dressed like a mixture between a bag lady and a little boy.
I dressed like
I got
a
my
little boy
clothes
for
from Goodwill.
a long time.
Or like t-shirts from Walmart, little boys section. It had cool like Star Wars t-shirts and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for talking to me on a microphone so everyone could see.
Oh, this is a funny bit. You know what episode's blowing up on our stats?
Which one?
IFS therapy, incels, and steak bites.
I
I don't know if it's like, are people searching for incels? Are people searching for IFS therapy?
Or are people searching for steak bites?
I like seeing which episodes pop off because it's always like, I'm like, that one?
Interesting.
Or I don't know if it sounds like a fun combination of topics.
Do you think incels are giving it a lot of attention because they want to know what we think about incels?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if incels, if they're listening to podcasts about, I don't know anything about that realm. I would love to know more, but that would be strange, right?
Yeah.
Who's our third person on here? We had 4. I know we got Full Metal and Magic, by the way. You guys get a free shirt. Did you see the final designs that I posted?
In the Discord? Nor. I need to get the app on my phone. It's only on my laptop.
No, it's fine.
Some days I don't feel like opening my laptop.
Yeah, don't do it. Toddler size. Yeah, let me I found 2 local cool shops in Austin. I really want pocket tees. I like the pocket.
Is the design on the front?
I think for the Whitney does, the design's on the back, and then I want a pocket with the butt logo on the front.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cute if they made that in toddler size.
That's super cute.
I don't know if they do. Or I wonder if I could print my own. And then for the Megan and Whitney show, that logo seems to be a front.
Yeah.
Right? Or what do you think?
Definitely. And then on the back, we can just write like, if you poop and you fart and you're gonna make art or something like that. I don't know. Or just the front.
Magic, I have a hard time believing you're 3XL. Does your shoulder seam go to your shoulder? That's what I would tell my dad, because he would always wear extra big stuff, and I'm like, you're not that big. And he was like, I don't know, 300 and some pounds.
What size is recommended for 300 and some pounds?
I don't know, but he was like, dude, you're not a fucking XXX. That's like for...
But also large t-shirts are the style for like the Gen Zers now. So like really big t-shirts is what the kids are wearing. And that's the size of the shirts that I wear to bed.
Oh, he likes baggy clothes. Okay, they do make, I think, I'll get sizes from you guys. Yeah, I want to get those going.
T-shirt, ever heard of it?
Yeah, I don't think Magic is a Gen Zer. I have no idea how old any of us are. I think I know I'm older than Full Metal Corgi.
But you're not older than me, baby.
You're older than me by a few months.
Yeah, by
6 months. You're 90.
December,
Bullshit.
January, February, March, April, May. 6 months.
6 months.
6 months older you. And my doctor's name was Homer. I was delivered by a man named Homer.
Full circle.
The Greek poet, but also the hero of my heart, Homer Simpson.
All right, bye, guys.
Thank you for existing.
For existing.
Te quiero mucho, baby.